Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for WhatCulture Gaming, joined by the lovable hairpiece that is Josh Brown. Hello everyone, hope that you had a good weekend. I know I did, because thanks to Bandai Namco, they sent me a closed beta code so that I could go and play Code Vein. I've been playing that now for about 4 to 6 hours. The reason that I say 4 to 6 hours is because I don't really count getting up to go to the toilet or cooking.
Yeah, of course. No pauses, you know.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you don't really pause the game. It is effectively like a Dark Souls thing and that thing. But I'm now going to share my thoughts with Josh. He's going to ask some pertinent questions about the game.
Damn right.
And I'm just going to give you my sort of first impressions on this. And you know what? For the most part, they're pretty positive.
I'm pleased. It looked good from what I've seen. Is it fair to just kind of call it not a Dark Souls clone, but obviously it's by the same publisher who published Dark Souls. You know, the combat is very reminiscent of it. Is that its biggest draw?
I'd say that if you are a Dark Souls, Bloodborne fan, even The Surge, and games like, what's the other one called? The one that's like Lost, the Fallen?
Ashen?
Lost
the Fallen as well.
Like, I'd say that if you are into that very combat-heavy, challenge-centric gameplay loop, then I would say that this is going to be a game that will appeal to you, because the combat is a huge focus of this game. The enemies hit very hard. They're not as difficult as sort of Dark Souls fans might expect.
You were mentioning this before we started filming, actually.
I do think that potentially you will have an easier time with this game. I'm not saying that it's not hard. There is definitely a challenge in this game, but I did find that I was breezing through a lot of the sort of what you'd call stock enemies, and only really sort of stumbled a few times when it came to the bosses or greater losts, as they are called in this game. I feel like there's a lot to love about it that feels familiar from the Dark Souls franchise. Like, they use some of the same sound effects.
Really?
Like, yeah,
that's interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that particularly, because I feel like if you're trying to distance it and call it its own IP, you should really have made the effort to step away from it.
Yeah.
But it definitely has the same dungeon crawling and exploration mechanics, definite focus on leveling up certain weapons. There is a huge focus on positioning in combat and exploiting enemy AI. And, you know, the enemies and the bosses, they do hit like absolute trucks. Yeah. Like, it is difficult in that sense. I had a really good time with this game, but I feel like it was a game of two halves in a very literal sense. The demo gives you an exploration of a main dungeon, a little bit of story, and you get to fight one boss who is called Oliver Collins. That's the name that's not a fear-inducing name, but you fight Oliver Collins, who then turns into a big fat mess.
I'm almost certain this was one of my lectures at uni. Oliver Collins sounds very...
He probably was.
Very regal.
And you know what? He gave me a thesis on pain for a while, but then after I'd absolutely spanked him back to the curb, I'd made sure he didn't get tenure, if you know what I'm saying.
Very good.
Yeah.
I was going to dab there, and you know what? It took everything in my power to not dab at that joke.
Oh, please,
it's 10 a.m.
Never do that.
I'm going to do that next time.
No. After that, the game sort of sets up a little bit of like background as to what you're doing and what the hell's going on, which is a bit weird to do 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
But still, then the game stops and it says you've unlocked this area called the Depths, which acts as a sort of, in this closed beta, it was 3 mini bosses that you have to beat to get keys to unlock the door to go to another boss, which is called the Blade Bearer.
A bit better.
And that was the best bit of the game.
Right.
Because it said you need to be level 40 to go into this area, and I was level 12 at this point, so I was still like, oh, okay, fair enough. So I was getting my ass handed to me a bit, but I chipped away at enemies, got massive sort of core points or blood points, whatever you want to call it for this, and used that to level up, and I suddenly saw my character go from that point to level 55, I think I ended it on.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, there is a huge difference. I've learned loads of skills. I've learned all these crazy abilities. And that's when the game came alive.
Right.
I found it to be quite clunky to begin with. I get that it is because it's trying to teach you all the basic mechanics, but I do feel for a seasoned Dark Souls player, for like a person who loves Bloodborne, I found it to be like, I get this. Like, come on, man, speed it up a bit.
That's the interesting bit, and that's kind of what I'm worried about, because obviously this is going to be marketed to people who have already played those games. So if you're already expecting a certain level of challenge, or if you've already got your muscle memory from playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne, you kind of know how to stray from the enemies, how to deal with them. Like, I was watching some footage before we came in, and they were kind of like fighting these blob things that reminded me of like the blobs from Dark Souls. And I was
the
just
literal blobs.
Yeah. They were just sort of like going through them in the same way, and I was just thinking, I already know how to defeat some of these enemies without having actually played the game.
But and they do play exactly as you think.
Right. Okay.
Like there is actually like a bit of shallowness in that respect as well, because those blobs that you mentioned in the Dark Souls game, they are resistant to like physical damage, and you have to use magic or sort of enchanted weapons to do extra damage against them. In this one, it didn't matter. You just did damage to them regardless. And maybe it's because it's a training area. Maybe it's just because they wanted to show a variety of enemies, not a variety of play styles. But I was a bit just like, oh, I would have thought this would have done much less.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting. Like, there's a difference between the story and like the depth, because the depths, I'm not sure. Again, I haven't actually played it, but it reminds me a little bit of the challenge dungeons
very
from
much like that. Very
Bloodborne,
much like that.
And they were good in sort of like short stints. They give you like these challenges, but they became kind of, at least for me, a bit repetitive. Like, especially compared to the main story. So the fact that that's sort of inverted here, at least initially, I wonder whether it's just kind of like you said, it's a training area, so you're getting to grips with it. And these are sort of higher level stuff. Maybe the game itself, the story mode, will eventually get those bigger challenges and those more expansive, I don't know, combat styles.
Well, the guy that lets you go down to the depths, he basically says like, oh, there's going to be tons and tons of these little mini challenge rooms and stuff like that you can go to get lots of item farming and stuff like that, and then bring it back to the storyline, which I kind of like, because it's like, if the story is like a bit boring for you, or it's not like engaging you, you can just go to these sort of challenge things, have a blast for a couple of hours, and then come back with all your loot, and then just cruise through the main story.
How much of the story did you actually like the actual narrative itself? Because obviously a huge part of the appeal of this game is that it's Dark Souls by way of like a crazy anime.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I don't think I fully grasped the story, and like, if you guys can have a go at me all you want, but I feel like the narrative was possibly delivered in quite a confused way. I have tried to look up what it was trying to say, but from what I can tell, and actually, I'll tell you what, the best thing to do is for me to tell you exactly the story I gleaned without having looked at anything.
Right.
Because I feel like that's the best way to judge how well the game tells its narrative. In this closed beta, you wake up after a massive battle's gone on. There's a woman called Io who seems to know a lot about you, but you don't really know much about her, and she doesn't have her own memories. Of course you've got amnesia, because
obviously.
it's anime protagonist amnesia. So he's got that. Or she, because you can make whatever type of character that you want, which I'll go into in a minute.
I looked at the customization options before, sorry to derail, but they were mad in kind of the best possible way. I enjoyed them.
It reminds me of like Soul Calibur customization.
Yes,
and I was having a great time with that. I made a skull guy with a little halo above his head who wore pants. What was it called again? Oh yeah, Clam Ham.
Why?
Clam ham!
Do you do this purely for videos, or is this to pop yourself in your home?
No, it's because his name was Clam but Humperdinck. So it's a Clam ham. Because it asked you to give a short name for him.
I'm the fool then, jeez.
Idiot. After Clam Ham woke up, he goes and he resurrects this tree. The tree grows fruit that is blood. Blood fruit, a literal, not even a blood orange, just literal like a teardrop of blood. Then these people come along and they try and steal these blood off you and tell you that you're now a slave and that you're going to work for them and collect more of this blood. Okay, I thought that's fine. Then you get sent out into a dungeon to go collect some blood. You find some blood. Then you find a stone with tons and tons of spikes on it. You pick up the stone, even though being told that you explicitly that you should not do that.
Yep.
The woman who you're with, Io, goes, yeah, you can do this, you're fine, you can purify this stone. He purifies the stone, he blacks out, and then he wakes up in a nice hotel where the guy says, oh yeah, this entire city that we're in is under a dome. And the reason it's under a dome, we don't know, because there's just something that's happened. And the only way, the people that are left here, you either work for this guy who is like a really horrible tyrant dictator and he kills people like us, or you become people who go and suck and eat this blood to survive, and we can't escape this never-ending cycle of hunger. And if you do get your mask ripped off and ingest the miasma, you become a crazy thing called the Lost, which is effectively like a hollowed state, and you go crazy and attack everyone. Right, that's exactly how the game presented to me.
Right,
that's what I gleaned from it.
I'm quite here for that, I think, in a way. That sounds mad, but sort of ridiculously high concept and opaque and abstract, and probably not much of a driving force to actually get you invested into these characters or this narrative. But
now, I like that story.
Yes.
On paper, I enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy the delivery because it was like, anime. Oh, hey. I like anime. I like watching anime stuff, but I don't like anime voice actors who are English.
Right.
It's definitely subs, not dubs, if you know what I mean. But having some guy just going like, oh, you are the chosen one, and I have got this blood fruit for you. Here, have some of my coagulated pear. Like,
first off, no, I don't want that.
He fell for that last time.
But secondly, how does that mesh with the actual gameplay itself? Because the gameplay itself looks very sort of like slow and methodical, or at least very heavy in a way that perhaps these cutscenes sort of indicate potentially a wilder, more bombastic, grandiose story.
Well, it is good that you bring that up, because that's where the gifts come into into play. What you do is every single character has got like a core blood set, or blood type, I think they might call it, which is it determines your overall stats. So you've got like a regular fighter, you've got a ranged guy, mage, berserker, a balanced one. There was quite a few actually. I think I got to try about 7 different types, and they all did adjust everything and all your stats accordingly. But what you do outside of the regular movesets, and like you've got your strong and your attack, strong and light and heavy attacks.
There it is.
You've also got these things called gifts, which are skills. So, for example, I was playing as the berserker for most of mine, and if I held down right trigger and pressed a button, it would use some of this MP or blood that you've got to do a combo attack that was infused with blood that would do more. So what you actually get is every single weapon has like its own attack, what's the word I'm looking for? Attack animations, but you can then bolster them in your own ways by customizing which skills you'd like to add into it. So you can create your own combo chains.
That sounds more exciting.
And every time you attack, so say you're doing a strong or light attack, you can press R1 and triangle, because I was playing it on the the PS4, and you'll follow up that attack with like a stab from like a weird mechanical tendril that you've got hidden in your back somehow.
Cool.
If it hits the enemy, it will not only do damage and knock them back, but it will also replenish your MP or your blood echoes, meaning that you can do more combos later on.
That's cool.
So that's actually quite a great way, and you can actually even get more blood than you can technically carry at your max amount, meaning that you can get like say 60, and then just go and spam that combo until it runs back down again. It's a really clever mechanic, and I really like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it rewards you for actually playing aggressive at least.
Yeah.
Like it actually wants you to get into the action itself rather than just kind of like doing the Dark Souls thing and kind of standing back.
And even if you are like much more of a cautious player and just going for the 1 or 2 hits, the game rewards you for playing in a defensive and evasive manner, because there's a little bar that fills up on the left-hand side, and it fills up quicker with every successful dodge that you do.
Sweet, cool.
And once it's full, it will automatically put you into an awakened state, which means you can hold down R1 and triangle again, I'm pretty sure, and it will do this sort of like uppercut move, and it will knock the enemy off the floor.
Nice.
You can't do that in any other way, but once you do that, you follow it up immediately with an attack that does tons of damage, like a critical hit, and also replenishes your blood points as well. I'm calling them blood points. I know that they're called something else. I think they're called iCore points or something like that, but that is a great mechanic.
That sounds more versatile than I kind of expected.
The animations do take up quite a long time there. That's the only thing I'd say, because in the flow of combat, to suddenly stop and you've got like so much frames of invincibility when you do it, I did feel like it did stunt the combat bit. I quite liked it when it was just like, stab, done.
Yeah.
And some of them, it's like the mask, you'll see this mask appear over your guy's face, he'll like turn into like a little demon thing, and then he'll lift him up, and I'm just like, I didn't need to see that like 30 times, you know.
Makes sense. I have one final question for you, because that sounds good. That combat sounds like it could sustain quite a long game, I assume. How is the actual like story structure itself and mission structure sort of like rolled out? Is it like is it linear? Is it open?
It seems to be very linear.
Okay,
from what they've given us, but I do think that's maybe because it is the tutorial opening section. There did seem to be some sort of like bounty board system, because you can go to this sort of this hub section where it's got an item, a merchant, a weaponsmith, a place to go to the depths. It seems to have another exit. I can't really figure out where it's going to go. But you can also, like, there's a bounty board, and when I clicked on it, it'll just say your current mission is this, and this is what you need to do to progress it, which I thought was great, because I was like, oh, how many times have we been in this thing of like, where do I go now?
Yeah,
what
is next?
So what I'm thinking is that because it had a big picture of a map, there will be other sections for you to travel to different areas to go there.
Is the art style itself good? Because I was looking before we came in, and some of it was great, some of it looked a little dungeon crawly, a bit kind of like drab, but which is weird because, like I said, some of it did look nice.
It's very hit and miss for me personally. I love the character creation stuff because I feel like they've really gone crazy with that and allowed you to just create whatever person you want. I do feel like they might have phoned it in with a few of the enemy types. Like it's just like a white dog, a robot dog. It's a man in armor. It's like a man in armor. And I know that it's hard to do these sort of designs and keep them fresh, but like the main boss of this area, the Blade Bearer, you look at her and it's just it's what's her name from Nier Automata, the main character.
2B.
Yeah, it's literally just her, but with massive meat hams. The boob physics in this game are
very anime.
I'll just say, mate, I've played Peach Beach Splash. I've played Extreme Beach Volleyball.
You have.
This is up there on the jiggle bone. The jiggle
that
bone.
level. It's beach volleyball level.
There was one bit where the woman Io, she like rescues you, and you even ask her, why are you wearing these bandages? And bandages is a huge like overstatement of what they are, because she's literally got her chest meat is here, and it's got she's got rips literally like nipple to nipple. Like it's like, oh man, it's anime. It's anime. But you know what? Fair. If that's what they want to go for, that's what they want to go for.
They're dedicated to it at least.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that she's in a different place and could easily change into much more suitable clothing, that's up to her, isn't it? That's her choice. That's her choice. But yeah, it's some of the characters look great. Environments looked really, really nice with a lot of bloom for the weird ethereal lighting. Yeah. I like that. I just want to see more of the open world. I didn't really like the fact that in both of the main exploration areas, you are deep underground. I would like to see more of the overworld with lots more light. I have seen screenshots of people showing this big church and stuff that will come later. There's a giant four-armed, two-legged wolf god called the Rib Cage or something like that.
Hell yeah, I'm into that.
And it's like in this weird big church, which is very Vicar of Amelia referencing. But I think that is the art style where it will really pop. So hopefully this, again, being a beta or beta, is just sort of like giving you the taster.
Yeah, like, a bit worrying that the taster that you did get was potentially of all the worst bits, but it does kind of inspire confidence, because these games, they get better the more you play them.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I think I'll be picking this up.
Sweet.
I definitely think that it's got promise. I will be playing it more for the gameplay than the story, I think, at the moment. Yeah. Unless they can find a way of making it a bit more accessible or delivered a bit better.
I'm kind of interested in it. Like the story itself, like you were saying, sounds mad in a way that I quite like. So I'm going to give it a go for that. And the characters, and honestly, the customization alone kind of sold me. So I'm going to definitely give this a go, I think.
What's your guy going to be called? Because obviously we need to team up.
Oh God. Oh yeah. I'll just let you name me, like you always do.
I will do.
You tell me what to do.
I will just say one final point. The online was really smooth. I didn't have any problems with connecting with other people. And we went through, smashed all the people and that. I had a really good time playing online. Absolutely dead though. No voice chat. No one was talking. So I was like, is this a feature? Is there no voice chat in this entire thing? I was like, hello, hi, hello.
It's to create the mystique. That's why.
Clamham wants to chat.
Well, no wonder, to be fair. Everyone just switched their mics off straight into the sea. I'm not talking to Clamham. That's exactly what my mum's been telling me not to do for 24 years now.
You're going to be the sesh master.
I'll do that.
No, you're going to be Szechuan Steve.
Obi-Wan Szechuan, I think.
Obi-Wan Szechuan, that's going to be his character name. You have to build him like he's an absolute pillhead. Anyway, that's been my thoughts on Code Vein and the closed beta. Thank you so much, Bandai Namco, for sending this over. We will obviously provide a review when it comes out, as well as usual tips and tricks and little upcoming things, and expect to see it probably appearing on lists very, very soon. I don't know when it's coming out, though.
I don't think it... I was checking, right? I'm not sure if it has an official release date at the moment.
Good.
I know it's 2019, but I don't think it's been locked in. Probably wrong.
Maybe E3 they'll probably announce it.
It could be.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, yeah, let us know what you thought about it down in the comment section below if you've had a chance to play it and what your thoughts are as well. As always, I've been Jules. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. And
I've been Josh, and you can follow me at Josh Broom with 2 O's on the end of it at twitter.com. Need to find a better way to deliver that without sounding like a total pillock every single time.
Twitter.com.
God damn it. Oh, no, it's way too early.
Classic this. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. You've been awesome. Never forget that, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.